Can I tell you a secret? I actually don't like to wake up early, which can be pretty rough considering that I have 6 kids that are all in school. So that's why today I have to show you 3 super duper easy, make ahead vegan, high protein breakfast ideas. That was a mouthful. The first recipe is high protein vegan pancakes or waffles. The recipe actually works for both, and this recipe is crazy easy. For the protein pancakes or protein waffles, you will add equal parts of flour and protein to milk or water. And even if you're not using protein, then you can just omit the protein and do the same thing with equal parts flour. So I'm gonna do 1 cup of flour. And then I'll add, this is about 1/3 cup of protein powder. And this is, obviously a vegan protein powder. You can use unsweetened protein powder. You can do however you want. And then I'll use the same amount of flour as milk. I prefer to use soy milk. So this is 1 cup of soy milk. Soy milk has 7 grams of protein per cup. So that's just adding even more protein. So far, this is 30 grams of protein already. But then, because I did the 1/3 cup of protein powder, I need to add a little bit more. And so then that's 1/3 cup. Perfect. So we're at about 32, 33 grams of protein in this mixture. All by itself, it's not that sweet. So I do like to add some brown sugar. You can do maple syrup. This is 1 tablespoon. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons because I prefer not to use maple syrup on top of my pancakes or waffles. That's just my personal preference. And then we'll mix all of that together. Now I always love cinnamon. So I'm gonna add just a dash of cinnamon. It's about 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. We'll add that in. It smells so good. You could add any other spices you like as well. Here's the key ingredient. Because we are not using eggs, we need to use baking powder, and not just 1 teaspoon of baking powder. In order to make these pancakes or the waffles nice and fluffy, you need 1 tablespoon of baking powder. That is the secret. So with or without protein powder, if you do 1 tablespoon with 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of milk, you will make a super easy and delicious pancake base. Now I do use a little bit of avocado oil to spray my waffle maker because, let's be honest, no one likes a sticky waffle and it really helps. And I can already see that it's already getting some bubbles from all that baking powder. It's starting to get nice and fluffy. So I'm just gonna mix it up one more time. Half of the batter will go in for this first round. And this is where I like to add different mix-ins. So I'm gonna add some blueberries. So this is a little bit, about 1/4 cup of blueberries, a little bit more than that. And I'm gonna actually just kind of mix them in right here on my waffle pan because I'm gonna add chocolate chips to the next round, so I didn't want to put them in the bowl. Here we go. Yum, yum. It's starting to come out just a little bit. While that's cooking, I'll add about 1/4 cup of vegan mini chocolate chips to the rest of the batter and mix these in here. And voila! These look perfect. Then we'll do the chocolate chip version. This is such a simple recipe. There's no need to buy those expensive protein pancake batter mixes when you can easily make it on your own. And the chocolate chip waffles are done. For those of you who don't like protein powder, using PB Fit is also really helpful. PB Fit or PB2, because it's super high in protein. It just adds the taste of peanut butter, and it's a really easy swap for protein powder if you're not a fan. These waffles really are the perfect grab and go breakfast. They're full of protein to keep you satiated. I love the ones with berries in them. They're so yummy. And crunchy. For my family, I make a quadruple batch. We'll cook a bunch at once and then place them in the freezer for later. Then in the morning, when we're getting ready for school, my kids can just grab them from the freezer, put them in the toaster, and literally walk to the school bus with waffle in hand. I love that they're sweet enough on their own that you do not even need maple syrup. They're so yummy. Honestly, these taste better than store-bought high-protein waffles. Much better. Our next recipe is super easy, simple, vegan protein bars. For this recipe, we'll need 1/2 cup of oat flour. So I'm just gonna take my regular rolled oats and put them in my blender to turn them into flour. To a food processor, you will place 1/2 cup of the oat flour and then 1.5 cups of your favorite vegan protein powder. Now, with the pancake recipe, you could get away with a protein powder that you don't like because you don't really taste it. But with the protein bars, you do need to find a protein powder that you enjoy. So make sure you have that. And then we'll add 2 cups of peanut butter. Here's 1 cup. 2 cups is going to be about a 16-ounce jar. So just throw that whole thing in there if you don't want to measure it out. And then you'll add 1/2 cup of maple syrup. We'll process everything in the food processor. Now that it's processed, you'll notice it's kind of chunky, like it's not quite ready for the texture of like a protein bar. And if you taste it, it tastes pretty chalky, but it's okay. It's not done yet. Let me show you part two. We're gonna add a can of rinsed and drained chickpeas to a blender with a half a cup of water. We'll blend that together into a paste, and then we'll add the paste to the mixture. So make sure it's nice and smooth. You don't want any chunks. If you need to blend it more, blend it more. Perfect, let's add it in. Nothing like beans for breakfast. Process it one more time. Now with the beans, and again, you may have to process it a couple times, but the texture is just so much better. It holds together so much better. You would never guess that adding beans makes this taste better. The beans just take away the chalky, fake flavor. It tastes more like real food. Last thing, I wanna add in a half a cup of mini dairy-free chocolate chips. That's gonna make this taste like cookie dough. We're gonna squeeze it in. Now we add these to our silicone molds. If you do not have these molds, you're welcome to just turn them into balls, and then you can store them that way too, which is honestly what I do most of the time. But if I have the time, we'll just kind of smash them and make the shape of actual bars. And that way it's easier to tell my kids, okay, you get one bar. Otherwise they'll take like 5 million little balls all at once. This is the most time-consuming part. Listen to a podcast, make it fun. Hey, real quick, have you signed up for your free 1-week meal guide? It's linked below, and honestly, it's so delicious. It's a full week of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, vegan, whole food, plant-based recipes, and I switch it out every single season. So make sure you're signing up for this quarterly. And look, you literally don't even have to put them in the freezer. They're already in the right size. The kids can just plop them out and eat a bar. It's super filling. This is such a yummy breakfast. I have a bunch left over. I'm just gonna turn them into balls. There we go, makes a ton. These bars will last 7 days in the fridge or up to 3 months in the freezer. These bars are crazy filling. I mean, they're high in protein, they're high in fiber, and they're high in fat. So it doesn't take much to help you stay full the rest of the day. Eat it with some fruit and you have a complete breakfast. But just a reminder, do not skip the beans. It makes a world of a difference. Is that your third one already?
Yes, it's my third one.
It's your third one? Oh goodness.
And because I know many of you will be asking, I also want to show you how to make a non-protein powder and low-fat vegan protein bar. So let me show you that recipe too. We'll first add 12 to 15 soft medjool dates to our food processor. I put 15 in here. And we'll process these until they become a paste. Then we'll add a can of garbanzo beans or chickpeas. Make sure they're rinsed and drained. Then we'll add a teaspoon of vanilla. This is where the added protein is gonna come from. It's just peanut butter powder, and so it's super low in fat and high in proteins. We'll add a half a cup of PB Fit or any type of like PB2, any type of peanut butter powder. And that's it, let's go ahead and process it. Now that it's turned into this beautiful ball of dough and paste, we'll add a half a cup of oats just to give it a little bit more bulk. We'll need a teaspoon of cinnamon and a dash of cloves. And then we will finish it off with 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. It's already pretty dang sweet, so you don't need to add that many. Do a quick mix and then form it into balls. Now this recipe is incredibly forgiving. So if you wanted less dates to make it less sweet, you can add just a couple less. You can also add a little bit more protein powder and it will still work out. You can form this into balls or into bars and save for later. You can store this in the fridge for 7 days or in the freezer for up to 3 months. Hey boys, breakfast is ready.
Coming! What's breakfast?
Protein balls.
Yummy.
And the last recipe is vegan grab-and-go breakfast burritos. You'll first start by taking 2 potatoes that are washed. You'll microwave them for about 10 minutes. We'll crumble up a package of extra firm tofu. I'll turn on the heat and then we'll start to add the spices. Next, we'll add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 1 and then 2. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then about 1 teaspoon of salt, a little bit less. Mix all that together. Now to make it that yellow color like an egg, we're gonna add just a dash of turmeric, which is about 1/4 of a teaspoon, just the tiniest bit. And I'm also gonna add just a dash of pepper, because anytime you use turmeric, you wanna also pair it with some pepper. Next, we're gonna add a can of black beans. They've been rinsed and drained. Mix all that together. Then I'll add a half a cup of fresh salsa, a heaping half of a cup, and that's gonna add a lot of flavor. Of course, you can add any other veggies or anything else you wish to this, make it your own. Then once the potatoes are cooked, we're just gonna roughly chop them. They don't have to be perfect. I'm gonna kind of cut them up because we'll mash them into our mix. And we will add the potatoes to the mixture. This is gonna help soak up any excess liquid so that we don't have soggy burritos. Remember, this is considered high protein because tofu actually has more protein than eggs. And then we'll finish this off with a handful of spinach. Let that wilt in. All right, we'll take your tortilla, place it on some aluminum foil, add a spoonful of the mixture, and then roll it up. Once you've rolled it up, you're gonna put it in your aluminum foil. You can save it for later. This makes 8 burritos. You just put these right into your freezer. Now I prefer to eat mine with some hot sauce or some cashew cream mixed with hot sauce. I love that the aluminum foil gives you a nice, easy to-go container. And we'll dip it in some cashew cream with hot sauce. A super easy breakfast for the go, or dinner. Let's be honest, with sporting activities, this is a perfect easy dinner on the go. Just bring your favorite dipping sauce. If you liked these high protein recipes, I know you'll absolutely love my other video where I show you 3 easy high protein dinners. So check that one out as well.